Whoa, hey, what's going on, everyone? It's me again. We're back. It's Thursday night, and it is February 25th. And unlike last week, we're really live this time. So, just like always. So, how's it going, everyone? How's it doing? How was your last week? How was the week before? And all that. And here we are again. I don't know how it is where you are, but the weather here in Baltimore today has been kind of mild. It's been 50s, which, you know, when you've been sitting in like 30-degree weather, 20-degree weather for the last like several weeks, 50, the idea of 50 sounds great. But I went out a couple times today and it's still cold. So, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's still cold. So today we're going to be starting off again with more coffee and more cigars, and yeah, that's how it's going to go. Right on. So where are you guys tonight? What are you smoking? Drop those in the comments below. Love to hear about them. And tonight's coffee we're going to start off with is from my friend Dismas in Seattle. He's got a coffee company called This Coffee Life that he just started, and this is his Rwanda Musasa. And I've had this before. I think I featured this on the live stream in the past, and it's quite enjoyable. So I like it. It's got that nice chocolatiness. So we're gonna go into it this time and go check it out. What's up, Rusty? How's it going? Good to see you again. Glad you're here. We're here again, and today we're gonna do French pressing. All right. So French pressing. This is the Bodum. Pull that back there. This is the Bodum. What is it called? Bodum something. Bodum. What is it called? 20 years I've been working with these things. I can't remember the name right now. So the nice thing about this. Oh, let's see. Rusty says mid-50s yesterday and 40s today. Nice enough. Oh, nice. Excellent. Are you smoking now, or was that earlier? All right, so we're going to take the coffee. And so for this, the nice thing about the French press is that you use coarsely ground coffee. And again, since we're making a 12-ounce cup, we're just using 24 grams of coffee. And we're going to put that in. Now, something you could see probably here, like there's a little bit of like what we call chaff, that light colored stuff that's mixed in here. That is chaff or parchment, leftover material from that's left on the coffee that comes off during the roasting, or especially during the grinding. And it's nothing. I find it now that it's neither here nor there. Some people may want to say that it's some kind of indication of quality, but I think the coffee. Taste is king, and that's what I think a lot of people in coffee forget, is that taste is king, and we want to make sure that we taste it right. Oh, Chambord, exactly. That's exactly it. Thanks, Rusty. And the nice thing about the Chambord is that you can replace the glass. So if you break the glass, don't throw this away. Don't throw these away. The glass you can just buy. Oh, I've had a number of customers that will just throw it away, and it's like, oh, you don't have to throw it away. I'm happy to sell you more, but you don't have to throw it away. All right, so now we'll take our water. Our boiling water. You know, I was watching this video today about coffee brewing, and this guy's like brewing this coffee, and he's like, you got to be like 80 to 90 Celsius and blah, 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 blah. And look, this is off the boil coffee, and it's steaming. In his video, he's talking, and he's not brewing. And finally, he talks about he's about to brew, and he's been talking for like maybe 3-4 minutes. And when he starts to brew, there's no steam. So I'm like, dude, what is he doing? I don't get it. Anyway, we're not going to go there. So first of all, we're going to set our timer for 4 minutes. All right, 4 minutes, and then we're going to start it. We're going to do some blooming, so we're going to initially wet the coffee. We wet the coffee and let it steep, right? And this is going to allow the coffee to bloom. So all that CO2 is just going to rise to the top, and we're going to have some separation. So you can you see it? I guess it's a little bit hard. There is separation in this one. Maybe if I go this way, there we go. You can see the separation here. So that we're going to knock back down. It's been about 30 seconds. And you could stir it if you want, but I just would use the pour to break it all down. And then we're going to add a total of about 350 mils of water. And we're going to set the top on top. But here's the thing. You could set it together like this, right? Pull that back so you get a little. But the problem is that this lip will seat. As you can see, it's seating inside that, and that kind of throws the geometry off. So it makes it harder. See how this one's pushing against the edge? You have to kind of separate them. So separate them. I like to go in a slight angle, just slide it evenly, and then drop the lid on top. And then I'll just leave it hanging. So as you can see, there's a gap, right? I didn't push it all the way down, right? You can push it. Sometimes I'll just push it just so that it touches the ground, and maybe just submerge it slightly like that, okay? And then we just wait. And now we still have... Oh, that's good. It's good to press the wrong button. Well, we have about 2 minutes left, so we're going to go for 2 minutes. Let me turn that light on. That's better. Okay, good. I'm getting too much shadow. All right, so this is just, now we just wait. So that's the thing about the French press. The French press, you just kind of wait for it, right? And a lot of people ask me, what do I like to brew at home? I like to use this. This is what I've been using the most of. I mean, I think in one of the shows I said that I like the Clever Brewer. And I like the Clever and the French press for pretty much the same reasons. You put the coffee in, you add the water, and just kind of let it do its thing. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to tend to it. You don't have to do much fuss. And so I can go off and, butter my toast and finish frying the eggs and plate up the bacon and everything else that I want to eat. And I can bring it all to the table just as this thing beeps and hits the 4-minute mark. And so you'll leave it just steeping for 4 minutes. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Nothing too difficult. And then, like as with anything with coffee, you just kind of wait. You do your thing. Yeah. So thanks for you joining us tonight. Good to see you, all of you. Make sure you let me know what you're smoking. I'm interested to know what are you smoking and where you're smoking. So drop that in the comments below. Don't be shy. We're live again, not like last week. Last week we're a little bit recorded. This week we're live again. I was thinking about trying to figure out how can we add like a live call-in, like if you just like on the phone, like a radio show, you call in on the phone, but like, hey, I want to talk to you about, flying turkeys or something like that. You know what I'm saying? All right, so now we got our 4 minutes, and then from here it's just a simple plunge, right? We're gonna take the coffee, the plunger, and just press down and just give it a nice steady press, and that's pretty much it. It separates the grinds from the coffee. Now the thing about the French press is that because it uses this mesh filter, the mesh filter doesn't pull out the really fine minor sediments as well. It also doesn't remove the oils. Like if you use a paper filter, the paper filter will really filter everything out. So it's super clear. These will be a little bit on the muddy side. It looks muddy. It doesn't look crystal clear. Oh, also something when you're working with the sham board, there on the top here, there's this. Can you see this here? Yeah, you can see it. See this like these. There's a grate. You want to face that. You could pour it without it, but this helps to make it much smoother. Okay. So then we're just going to pour off the coffee. Ah, nice. Now the interesting thing is when you take a light and you put it against it, it always looks so light. Like, it doesn't look like it's well brewed. So that's why you should turn off the light. And then it looks right. So let's have a sniff. Oh, we got some nice aromatics, some toastiness, some cacao. A little bit of like orange peel. Not really heavy on the cacao here. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. All right, let's put that over here. We're going to slide that under there. All right, so, yeah. All right, so today, we're going to move right along. Get right into it to the big boy. We got our cigar for the day. This is, again, from Tobacco Leaf, from Rahul at Jessup. And I don't know if, I don't know if you guys saw this on the last show, but I was talking to Michael King from Aganorsa, and he agreed to come on the show and to do a tasting. So we're going to do a tasting of I forgot the name of the cigar. The cigar that I originally picked out, this signature series, he was like, oh, no, let's not do that one. He wanted to do a different cigar. So we're going to go with his cigar. I'm going to go visit Rahul tomorrow and talk more about it, make sure we get everything set up so that we can get distribution so that you guys can get a pack as well. And then, yeah. So by next Thursday, I should have more details on everything. All right, so today's cigar is the Plasencia Alma Fuerte. What is it called? The Plasencia Alma Fuerte Sixto Uno. I guess it's Uno. And you know, this is an interesting cigar. I've been holding this cigar for at least 3, maybe 4 weeks, and I was originally going to smoke this the week I went to the week we did the hot tub show, but because we did the hot tub show, I decided, well, I'm not going to bring that outside, and because it's just like this, it doesn't have a tube, it doesn't even have cello, so I figured it'd be a lot more delicate, especially in the cold, and then each subsequent week, something else changed. So like I was going to smoke it the week that Mike Rosales came on, but Michael came on, so we changed it around. And then last week I was going to smoke it, but then I didn't want to get into it on a recorded show, so I'm going to smoke it now, finally, after all this time. And so there's a couple things that are different about this for me, right? So first of all, it's a 6x60, and I'm not really a big fan of 60 ring gauge cigars. So I would not normally choose this cigar by size. And the other part of it, its MSRP is $21. $21. That's a lot of money for one cigar. But a few years back, I was flying out of Dulles Airport, and my flight with United got delayed by like 3 hours or something. And I knew this before I went down to the airport. And so I knew I had some time, so I went over to, so our buddy Alex that used to be the rep for Drew Estate, is that right, Drew Estate? He opened his own shop down in, around Dulles area. I forgot, maybe it's not Falls Church, but whatever the area is around Dulles, he opened a cigar shop, so I stopped in, and I was like, so what do you recommend? And he was like, oh, you need to try this Plasencia Alma Fuerte. And those were the original release. They have black labels instead of this one has green. And he was like, you got to try it. And I was like, man, this thing's expensive. It's like $17. But, you know, he's a buddy of ours, and I wanted to support him, and I was only going to be there for a couple hours. So, all right. So I spent the extra money that I would not have normally spent. Like $18 is a lot of money, I think, for a cigar. But I tried it, and oh no, maybe it was $20. They're all the Alma Fuerte Placencias are pretty pricey, and it was a powerhouse. It was really, really good. I remember very positive things about it. Good flavor, robust, very enjoyable. And now I haven't smoked many, or maybe I haven't smoked any, perhaps, since that first time because it's $20. And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to spend $20. I don't want to get enthusiastic about a $20 cigar. You know what I'm saying? Because that leads to craziness. But this came out, I saw this a few weeks back, and it turns out that this has just been released in December. And because of this, as I was doing some research into it for the show, there's really no heavy reviews. Actually, the only review that I was able to find right away was, of course, from Half Wheel, Brooks Whittington, and he just released his like 2 hours ago. So, had I smoked this 3 weeks ago, we would have been the first. Now we're not. Well, that's all right. Not a big deal. So Inting says he hasn't had a Plasencia yet. You know what, Inting, I must say, the Black Label one, like I said, I had that, and I think it's expensive, but wow, it's really good. It's really good. Really, really good. I'm not sure about this one. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. So hang on to your horses. And the interesting thing about this one, it's a box pressed, but it's a, I don't know if you can see this too well here, but yeah, you can see it. It's a box press hexagon, or hexagon press. So I want to say, so hex press. And the idea behind this is that it's supposed to imitate a honeycomb. And this is a line extension of the Alma Fuerte hexagon. So evidently, Alma Fuerte has a hexagon line. This version, though, is using a Colorado Claro Nicaraguan wrapper from the Jalapa region. And then the binder and filler are also Nicaraguan. Now, during Half Wheel's review of this, they were saying that, you know, while the wrapper is different than the original version, most other details remain the same. But how would you know that? All the companies ever tell you is, you know, wrapper Nicaragua. In this case, they say Havana. They say Nicaragua, Colorado Claro. Then binder Nica, filler Nica. Wow. What does that mean? There's a whole country of tobacco. Who the hell knows what's inside that thing? You know what I'm saying? So I don't, when the people say that, oh yes, it's the same kind of, how would you know that? You don't even know what the blend to begin with is. But we're not going to get too crazy on that. But looking at the wrapper, right, it's a pretty wrapper, right? Look at that. It's smooth, it's a bit silky, a little bit, not silky, like it's a little bit, I guess, dry feeling. Not dry, but kind of dry feeling, right? And it's got the foot band, and then the two bands here on top. So it's got a lot of bands. But I guess you should have a lot of bands if you're going to spend $21. And then even the box that it comes in is this really pretty green, hexagonal-shaped box, and there's 5 showing, and then there's 5 beneath it, so there's 10 cigars, so it's $210 for the box. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So that's, for a box of 10, that's like over twice the price of the Revenge. Is it twice the cigar? We're going to find out. George says, I've had the Alma Fuerte and the Alma del Fuego. What do you think of the Alma del Fuego? Is that a green? Is that the... I think I've only had the first release. When they first came out a couple years back, that's the only one I think I've had. How did you like the Fuego? And then Rusty says, whenever I see anything over $20, I tend to shy away. Yes. Only a handful of times, Davidoff, Opus X, and a Padron. You know, interesting. I mean, Davidoff, like, I'm always interested to try the Davidoff Year of the whatever, the Chinese release, the Chinese Zodiac releases. I had the Year of the Snake many years ago when that first came out, and I thought that was really fantastic. So I'm usually interested in trying them. I didn't try was it Year of the Ox was the most recent one? I didn't try that one yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Maybe it's all gone. I don't know. But, and then Opus X. Opus X is an interesting one because it's like, I've had that a number of times from its original release in, 1995, and then a few times over the years, but I was never a big fan of the style of black peppery that it has on that cigar, so I've never really gelled with it. I do have this one Tubo Arturo Fuente Opus X that I've had it, actually it's in the drawer of my desk, and it's been here for like at least, the drawer came from my old office at the Shave Ice place, and when I had an office at the Shave Ice place, and that was 15 years ago, so it's still there. But I think, and the Padron, of course, I agree with you on that. The Padron 1964, always a fantastic smoke. Actually, it's hard to be disappointed by Padron. unless you try the Damaso. The Damaso? Whatever that Connecticut they released a few years back, that was incredibly disappointing on multiple occasions. Like, just, I would never want to smoke one again. That kind of disappointing. But, you know, to each their own, to each their own. And George says that the Alma del Fuego is very good. Oh, I might have to try that. All right, so let's get to it. We're going to take the band off here. Band is off. We're going to do some cutting, the official cutting from the Xikar MTX cutter. Can you see? Can you see? All right, good. Now, it's pretty big to cut. Oh, okay, that looks pretty decent. How's that look to you guys? That looks all right? That looks all right, yeah? Yeah, all right. So in Brooks Whittington's from Half Wheel, his review, he said the wrapper aroma was cinnamon, cedar, black pepper, cloves, baker spices, earth, maybe cedar. No. Maybe leather. Maybe some earthiness. Maybe some more barnyardy manure. But I'm not getting any kind of this cinnamon, cedar. I'm not getting that. But it's nice. It's pleasant. It is attractive. It is attractive. The aroma is attractive to try. So we're going to do some cold drawing and tasting. Or this thing's huge. I don't put big things in my mouth. I can't do the John Holmes thing, you know. All right, so here's something that they were saying. During the cold draw, Brooks was saying that he got... Oh, wait a minute. He was saying that he was getting a spearmint character. And I was about to, like, say that that's crazy. But actually, maybe spearmint. There's a little bit of mintiness on the tongue. How about there? There's a little bit of mintiness. Oh, yes, thank you. That's what she said, and it tastes like mint. You know, I bet that would be thrilling for her. So there is a little bit of like tingliness. That could be mintiness. Huh. I think that was just surprising. I'm surprised by this. What are they saying? They say cedar, earth, leather, bitter espresso beans, milk chocolate sweetness. I'm not getting any of that. It's pleasant. It's tobacco-y. What's up, Di? How's it going? Good to see you. So, pleasant. Now, is it... Oh. There's some kind of, like, cracker looking thing. Look at that. I don't know if that's a crack. You see that little stripiness? That little, like, slash? I don't know if that's a cut or not, but I'll find out. All right, so we're going to light. Can we light a big cigar with one big match? We're going to do matches. I think we got it. All right. You may have noticed a different angle with the camera, and you know the background is slightly different. Mainly, I did change the way my setup is here, so now I have I have the camera more centered so that it hopefully looks a little bit more even. So there's an interesting tingly sensation on the tongue after the initial light. And, you know, this might have been what Half Wheel is talking about when they talk about spearmint. I can see that being like interpreted as spearmint. But there is a tingliness to it. Now, from the actual press release from Plasencia, they say that the wrapper has been aged for 10 years to make a smoother smoke, and then it should have notes of cacao, almonds, and then transitioning to hints of nutmeg and cedar in the final notes. And then it could be a 2-hour show. It very well could be. I mean, look at this thing. It's ridiculous. It's very big. It's very big. Oh, look at your boy. Oh, that's very cute. That's very cute. How old is he now? 2? 3? Looks 2. Or not 3. 3 is when they're going crazy. So there is some spiciness to it, more of a cedary spice, and some black pepper, but not a dominant black pepper. You know, in the first third, Brooks was saying that he got toasted bread, creamy cedar, leather, espresso beans, hay, barnyard, slight floral, spearmint finish, black pepper, and marzipan sweetness. I'm not sure what we're going to get with that, but we're going to see. That tingliness, it's really kind of maybe like a slight harshness, but it's not necessarily a negative or bad harshness. It's just tingly and a little bit. I hate to say harsh because it's not, but that's probably the closest way to describe it. All right, a little more of this Rwanda coffee. The Rwanda coffee has this kind of like soft sensation. So when you drink it after the puff, there's a softness to it that I don't know if it goes well with the cigar. There's definitely a brightness to the cigar that's unusual in most cigars that I smoke. And George says, I have to have a flavor wheel sitting in front of you to get... you know what? Where is that cigar flavor? Let's look at that up. Cigar flavor wheel. All right, let's see. Cigar flavor wheel from famous smoke shop. Cigar Advisor. Look at this thing. All right, let's see. We're going to go to, there we go. There we go, there we go. Now we've got our flavor wheel. So let's see what we have here. Spices. There's definitely a spiciness to it. I would say there's more of a dry spice. Down in the spice area, maybe a little bit of saltiness to it. Let's see, salt. Could be a little bit of nutmeg, maybe some cumin. Maybe I'm just saying that because I've got it right here. Let me reverse that. How do we reverse that? There we go, better. Okay, so now it's closer. We'll get rid of that banner. All right, so maybe some cumin, maybe a little bit of nutmeg, definitely some saltiness to it. Clove. I don't know if I want to say clove because maybe that's just wishful thinking. Vanilla, no. Cardamom, no. Black pepper, white pepper, maybe. Green pepper. Now, when they say green pepper, I don't know if they mean green pepper like as in bell peppers, or they mean green peppercorns, because they're quite different. And I've actually I just broke my green peppercorn mill the other day, so now I don't have any peppercorns that are green. Red pepper, again with the peppers, when you're saying, I mean, we have to presume that they probably mean the dry peppers rather than, but then black tea, green tea, white tea, chai tea, maybe could be some chai-ness, but that's just more general spiciness. Coffee with cream, so like Brooks was saying he got some kind of coffee notes. I don't really get coffee notes in this. Let's see. Sweetness. I wouldn't say that there's really much sweetness. Like I'm not getting a lot of sweetness. There could be some brown sugar. I'm not sure if cocoa. I would he says cocoa, but I mean I'm hunting for. I would have to hunt for cocoa to say it was there. I'd be hunting for it. And then you get to the toasty, the breads, graham cracker. No, not yet. Buttery. There might be some buttery when I have a puff and then I have a sip. There's definitely some kind of reaction on my palate between the coffee and the cigar that kind of gives it like a coating, not a coating, but it's kind of like when you taste the coffee, it kind of floats on the tongue and doesn't really impact. The flavor doesn't really impact. So what are you guys smoking tonight? Drop them in the comments. Let me know. I'm interested to know. Okay, so here we got the animal section. I don't get it. God, I hope there's no animal flavoring here. Lanolin, musk, savory, charred steak, gamey, meaty, manure. Oh, there we go. Animal derivatives, manure, leather. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's definitely some of that, like definitely manure on the nose when we started from the aroma of the wrapper. Some leatheriness for sure. Then let's see, down wood. Wood, oh goodness, wood. I got wood. Oh yeah, children. Shaving, sawdust, pencil, cardboard, paper, barrel, cedar, maybe cedar. Pine, hickory, mesquite, mahogany, teak. Dry gas, then grassy, hay, some hay. There was some hay earlier, sure. Tobacco, green tobacco. I wonder how many people that are cigar smokers even know what green tobacco would taste or smell like. Especially since it's not something that you would come across. Like, where would you come? Unless you drive into Pennsylvania or southern Maryland or Connecticut and you go and running through the fields, smelling the tobacco, which then the farmer probably would look at you like, what the hell is that guy doing? Why is he running through my field, and why is he smelling the tobacco? What is he doing to the plants? So earthiness, dirt, moss. So there may be some earthiness. There's definitely some earthiness. Mushroom, no. Old cellar, must, attic dust. No, that doesn't sound pleasant. It is, but you just have to be subtle. And how would you even know about these things? Unless you have a certain mindset, how would you even know who John Holmes is? He might be Sherlock's brother. That's very family. All right, so the floral side: flowers, wildflowers, nectar, rose, geranium, honeysuckle, carnation, fresh herbs, mint, lavender, thyme, fennel, basil. I don't know if I've ever had herbs in my cigar. Have you guys had herbs in your cigar? And then down to the fruitiness, we have citrus, tree fruit, berry, citrus peel, orange zest. I mean, there could be some of that, I think, in fig, plums, cherries, grapes, currants, blackberries. I don't know if you want, maybe raisin would be a nice component in your cigar, but grape, I'm not for sure if grape would be a welcome flavor. Well, who knows? You never know. Nuts, almonds, peanuts, pine, wood, walnut, cashews, marzipan, roasted nuts, sunflower seeds. Then you got the roasted flavors: burnt, smoke, ash, charred wood, charcoal, smoke, peat, burnt sugar. Peat's an interesting one. Like I don't know if I mentioned this in previous shows, but I was in Bangkok, maybe 2016, and I was smoking with some friends there, and our buddy was like, "Hey man, you need to try this Speyside, Speyburn Speyside, with the Monte Cristo #2 that I was smoking." And he said, we talk about the saltiness from the air that's in the Scotch, match perfectly with this, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Well, I'll give it a try, and man, it really did work. And so, like, maybe to see saltiness and peat in a cigar might be kind of, it might be quite an experience if you're having a matching alcohol. Then moving on to the last section, the blue section, we got mineral, marine, synthetic, astringent. So some things might not be pleasant. Sulfur, maybe not so pleasant. Lead, metal, ocean air. See, the ocean air, that saltiness in that Speyside worked really well with the saltiness of that Monte Cristo. Fantastic. Fish, that might not be positive. Seaweed, rubber, plastic. You know. There we are. All right, well, let's get that out of the way now. Oh, what am I doing? It's pulling up. Oh, well, I know. I pulled it up, and as I was thinking about it, then I might as well tell you what it is. Why am I pulling this up? So, one of our good friends, Brian, his mother passed away this past week, and he asked us, a bunch of us, if we would donate to this organization that, for his mother, Betty, that the Patient Advocate Foundation that has been helping his mom, over the last like 2 years or whatever, to, just to make things better for her. And he was asking our group of friends if they would be willing, if we would be willing to donate to the fund, just to give some fundraising. So if you'd like to, I just wanted to pop that up there to, pass that on. Just maybe $20 or whatever you want to, if you have the time. If you need the link, I can drop it here or send it out to you. Just let me know what you think. And yeah, that's what that's about. Now, where's my... So we're still moving along. The ash is really white. Look at that. It's a real nice ash. Right now, it's kind of gotten to this... I don't know if it's something where my palate maybe has become accustomed to the flavors, but right now the flavors at the moment are just kind of in this maybe lull stage. It's like I'm used to it, and it's pleasant, but it's suddenly become nondescript. Now, hopefully this is not me getting COVID and I'm losing my taste. That would be a disappointment. especially since I'm getting my vaccination tomorrow. So if you have you guys all got your vaccinations? Are you even interested in vaccination? George says, great burn for 60 ring gauge. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty nice. And I tend to smoke pretty hard, pretty fast, so usually I get a lot of, it's a little bit uneven right now, but I think that's more because of the way that I smoke rather than a reaction of the cigar. So I should probably just slow down. This way we can hit Inting's 2-hour mark. No, George's got both. Good. I was just reading the Moderna. After 14 days, the first dose of Moderna is 92% effective. Which is better than the typical flu shot that we get every year. That's only 40 to 60% effective, 60% effective. But not as good as polio. So if you get all 4 polio shots, it's 99 to 100% effective. So, Then Rusty just got his second Pfizer shot. Excellent. Everybody has their second. I'm behind. How bad was your sickness there, Inting? Oh, which reminds me, since you're up in New Jersey, do you guys have the Jollibee up there? I know there's one in New York City, but is there Jollibee in They're going to open one here in Wheaton, Maryland. And some of my friends were like, oh, we need to go. And I was like, you know what? With the way that I've seen Jollibee in New York City and other places when they open, it's just madness. I told them, you know what? At the rate that they go, I'd probably get to eat at the one in Manila again before I eat the one here. Because I don't really want to go and wait 2-3 hours in a line just for fried chicken, no matter how good the fried chicken is. And the fried chicken that I've had the Chicken Joy that I've had at the Jollibee in Los Angeles is not the equal of the Chicken Joy at Jollibee in Manila. The Manila is superior, though the difference is that so in Manila, they have this whole different way of butchering the chicken, right? So, here in America, we have the thigh, right? The thigh has the part, the made bone, and then it has the part that has the little oyster. And we have that as whole. In the Philippines, they like to cut it through the bone. But because I grew up here, I prefer the American cut. I don't really get that excited when they cut it that way. So, while the flavor is better in Manila, I like the butchering style of American chicken better. So Rusty says, when you go, get the shot in your non-dominant arm. Ah, okay. Okay, so this one. No, one in Jersey City, got it. Oh, 2 in Jersey City, 1 in... Oh, you guys got a lot. My God, you got a lot there. But if you haven't tried the Jollibee, for those of you who may not have been there, the chicken's quite good. It's really kind of taken America by storm. A lot of people are really kind of crazy about it. And actually, I never really ate too much Jollibee until about 2018. And I was in Manila doing judging again, and I had this group of judges from Singapore that came out. And evidently there's Jollibee in Singapore. And there was a Jollibee next to our hotel. And they were all super excited. They're like, oh, we need to go to the Jollibee next door because we need to try the chicken and see if it's different than what we have in Singapore. And I was like, well, all right. I really wasn't into it. I've had it, but I was like, I wasn't. But then as I started to eat it, I was like, oh, that trip, I was like, oh, this is quite good. Quite good. So I'm a pretty relatively new fan. When I had been there in the past, we get the burgers, or the big thing is their spaghetti. And Filipinos, they like the sweet spaghetti sauce, sweeter than it is here in America. If you get ragu, it's pretty darn sweet. I'm not a big fan of that. So when it's a little bit sweeter in the Manila style, I'm not really a big fan of that either. But you know what? Well, you know what you can do. Oh, yeah, Rusty agrees. I don't know if I could do the noodles with the ketchup. But actually, maybe it's not any different than ragu. I haven't really tried it recently and done a serious tasting of it. I'd much rather make a bolognese. Which reminds me, I've spent the last week making lasagna. Well, I didn't make lasagna. I made lasagna last week. And then I had a bunch of leftover. So I've now had lasagna for lunch, pretty much for 7 days straight. I have one more piece left. So we're still rolling along. But what do you guys think? Do you think that the Jollibee Chicken Joy is better here, or you like it or don't like it? But it's smoking pretty well. We're still in the first third. God, we've been at it for now, what? 30 minutes, still in the first third. 30 minutes into a cigar, you're probably halfway through it. This, good Lord, this is going to take a while. We might have to evolution to some other beverage. So one of my friends was over the other day, and she brought this bottle of wine. Joel Gotti. It's a pretty good bottle. I don't know if you've had it. Yeah, too right. Joel Gott, not Joel Gotti. Joel Gott, 2018, Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa Valley with the Riedel glass. It's a leftover. It's about gosh, she was here last Saturday, so it's been almost a week. My other friend, she brought a different bottle. I finished that on Sunday. I was drinking this yesterday with my leftover lasagna. I was trying to decide, should I just keep it and cook with it or drink more of it? But let's try it with this. So let's do the properness. Looking for the legs. What if we do some lighting? Oh, so dirty. Maybe we won't do the lighting thing. Can't really see anything anyway. There we go. All right, a little bit of something there. So the legs, I don't see many legs. I don't know what that means. It does smell a little bit oxidized. It's a little bit oxidized, but the red fruit is still very nice, still very round, still pleasant. I mean, compared to its original state, there is some oxidation, but not to the point that it would not be enjoyable. It does have a bit of tannic, light tannicness, so my palate is dry. That's not bad. As a pairing, not bad. All right, good. We're still not done to this first third. I don't know what's happening. So speaking of the vaccine, so I get mine at 2:45, 3 o'clock tomorrow. So after that, what do you have to wait 15 minutes or half an hour? I was planning to head over to the tobacco leaf and have a smoke. So if you're in the area, 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, we're going to tobacco leaf, have a cigar. And if you're there, you can help me pick out the next bank of cigars for the next several weeks. So the two together, the wine and this, they're okay. Nothing too exciting, nothing too wild. Yeah, good. But it's a big cigar. We're getting a little bit of droopiness. Right, there's a little bit of drooping. Part of me wonders if I should actually tap it. We'll do the tapping. We'll do the tapping. There we go. Maybe that'll give it a little more liveliness. Rusty says we should do an impromptu live show from tobacco. Maybe we will. I don't know if you caught the very first time I did a cigar live stream was with Rahul for Tobacco Leaf. We did it back in, I'd say April, maybe March or April, somewhere right around there. That went pretty well, I think. Tried to make it, as YouTube-y as we could back then. I'm getting this sensation where, as I'm smoking it now, I'm almost getting to the point of inhaling part of it. So so if you see me kind of react a little bit, that's what I'm trying to avoid. So I don't start choking. So I would say this cigar has become, from the spiciness early on, it's now just become more mellow and creamy. It's a very creamy smoke at the moment. I don't know if that's a positive thing. I think for $20 more, I want a little more punchy, a little more lively, a little bit more entertaining. Not to the point where you're getting hammered in the face. But, so if you have a cigar tobacco, yes, you can drink there. They don't serve alcohol, but you can bring your own bottles. And a lot of the crowd there, you remember Cirillo that was on the show, Cirillo and his crowd, they're there, at least once a week, probably 3 or 4 times a week, and they're bottling it. They're bringing bottles, not just one, multiple bottles, and they're kind of plowing through it. The couple times, the once in a while when I'll sit down and hang out with those guys for a while. They're drinking. I don't know how they make it home. I couldn't make it home. There we go. As George says, you can bring your own alcohol. Yeah, it's really nice there. It's really pretty. When you do finally come down, Rusty, we'll take you there and have a cigar. Inting, you should probably come down too. We'll have a cigar there. Oh, so we're getting a little bit of cracking. Can you see that right? Where did that go? Yeah, right here. It's a slight crack right there. There we go. That's better. You can kind of see that there. It's not affecting the cigar. Just the wrapper is cracked. It's not like it's coming through the whole binder or anything. So there's no loss in suction. Excellent. Bring that Jollibee down, reheat it. And then spring break, first week of April. Cool. Very cool. I should be free right around then. I should be free. Yeah, definitely more creamy. I think we're really moving into the second third. And in the second third, this is where Brooks is saying that it's really going to take off. Creamy almonds, cedar, cinnamon, cocoa nibs, leather, coffee beans, cereal, toast, spearmint finish, marzipan becomes into maple syrup. So perhaps some of this creaminess will turn sweeter. And then black pepper. We'll find out. I would hope so. If it changes that, it'll be really exciting, because right now it's a little bit okay. So last week in the show, I mentioned a bunch of cigars that I thought were the I guess the top 7 or top 5 of 2020. Just wanted to have a thought. If you guys remember, what did you guys think about that? Any thoughts on I thought the Stolen Throne Crook of the Crown Robusto was the best cigar that I smoked from the show. Crown Heads Mil Diaz Edmundo, second one. The Siri Privada 1975 SP54 Maduro. Then the Rocky Patel World Championship Moreva. I still have that other Moreva somewhere around here. I definitely want to get into it again and give it a try. I just got to find that right moment when I'm not just like, doing other things. Looks like a nice easy draw. Yeah, the draw's been really good. Oh, we're getting a little more bulginess now with that wrapper crack. Oh, is it going to focus? There we go. You can see that it's getting bigger. But again, it's not affecting the smoke. It's just a big cigar, like, and maybe this is one of the things where, like it's got it's creaminess, so it's got this lack of, I think it's got a lack of distinction. Although right now I'm starting to get a little more tingliness on the palate, but this last section here, is kind of like, creamy and just kind of like in a lull, and I maybe kind of wonder, like, is this because you've got such a large cigar that now you want to fill it with all this filler, and maybe it's just filler and it's just, but I don't know. Oh, you know what? It is starting to get a little bit peppery, maybe like a white pepper. Huh. That's interesting. So we went from like just creaminess, kind of a lull of creaminess, and now it's starting to get a little bit peppery, but just peppery. Maybe we'll see. I mean, I'm curious now. Now I'm curious. Where a moment ago I was just kind of like, well, we're just going to keep going. Now I'm curious. It could be a long 2 hours, but maybe now it's going to be a little more interesting. Because now we're about 45 minutes into it, and we're still here. I mean, it's still, The one thing about this is that while the hexagonal shape is really, it might have been stronger when I first bought it. And maybe because it's been sitting out of its box for the last month now, it might have softened the edges. And you can still see the lines, right? Like right here, you can still see the lines up here, but you're not really, right at the cap. It's pretty round at the cap, so you're not really getting, when you have the box pressed, like the Revenge, right? It's got that really sharp edges. So there's a, if you're a box press kind of smoker, there's kind of this enjoyment, oral excitement from the squareness of the cigar. I guess there's no other way to put that. At least it's not salty. But there is, I think, an oral enjoyment with the box press shape that you're not really getting. I think it would be much more interesting or fun if the box press on the cap was really hard. So your lips could feel it as you moved it around. But again, I can't say that for sure. Maybe it's just because it has been out of its box for a month. It's definitely gotten more spicy. It's definitely gotten a little bit more interesting. A little bit of bitiness to it, but not unpleasant. As I'm drinking the coffee, the Rwanda Musasa from This Coffee Life, from my friend Dismas. You know, this is I've had it in the past, and it's really quite enjoyable. I don't know if maybe the way of doing it as a French press and having the sediments remain and the oils remain in the coffee, maybe that dampens the experience on this particular coffee. Like, it's not as chocolatey, it's not as exciting and enjoyable as it has been in the past. So how's your guys' week been going? This week, it was my mom's birthday. She turned 80 this week, so happy birthday to Mom. Very exciting. Thank the Lord she's still with us. I do every day. Oh, you know what, the nice thing, so we had Valentine's Day, right? I don't know if I mentioned this in the last show, but I went down to the Walgreens, the local Walgreens, right? The week after the week after Valentine's Day. And the nice thing about that is that all the chocolates are half price. So I got me a big Russell Stover. I actually have one more of a different brand. I don't know when. But the nice thing about this, right, is that when you go to... Oh, thank you, Di. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When you go and get yourself the half price chocolate, so this is like $9, $10, $12, so it's like $4 or $5. And the best bit is that when you have it all to yourself, this one from Russell comes with a key, right? So you can see all of the different chocolates. Now, everything that's in this catalog was not featured in this one. I did not get the big enough one to have it all, but it had quite a lot. And so slowly I have been eating through it. There's only this much left. And the best bit of having this key now, because remember when you were young, like, it was just kind of printed on the back, it would just say, this is what we have, but it didn't show you any illustrations, so you really didn't know what you were eating. And then you'd bite something you just didn't like maybe the strawberry cream. And then you'd bite something that was like, I don't know, like the caramel, and you're like, nah, nah, nah. The nice thing about this is that I sat here and I was able to use the key to check out which ones, and I'm a big fan of the truffles, right? The ones that have the ganache on the inside. So I have saved those to the very last. That's what's left here. I have saved those to be the very last ones, so that my last bites from this box are only what I like. And the nice thing is that if you don't have it with a woman, you don't have to share. I didn't want to share. I'm a bad person like that. So it's got a little bit of pepperiness, a little bit of spiciness, but it's not like it was at the very big outset, right? It's not like it exploded again. It's just a little bit spicier, a little bit livelier. All right, so let's see what we got in the mailbag. I did get a couple things in the mail this week. Not quite sure what's in it. So this one says fragile, do not bend. So I'm not quite, that's one of the things where you can't really remember what you bought. So let's see what we got in here. Oh, you know, this guy, who is this? The guy's name is El Nash from Florida. And I must say, whatever it is, it's packed really well. He did a great job. Oh, he even has a little letter here. That's very nice. From Dania Beach. If this is not yet a 5-star transaction, kindly send a note through Amazon message system before posting feedback and before requesting a return. I'll promptly respond to your note to discuss how I can help. Please include one or more photos if that will help clarify your concerns. Oh, that's very nice. Seaside trading. Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. That's a nice touch. I might have to do that for my packaging. I mean, they took a lot of time to package this. I don't even know how much I spent on it. But this kind of packaging, I would say it's worth it. This kind of packaging, I think, is worth going back and giving them a good review. Ah, good. Ah, refills. So these are pen refills. So when the local Office Depot closed a couple months ago, you'd think it was. It's actually, where's this from? Made in Korea. It's a company called Tool. Tool is this pen company. Here it is. And they make these pens. Now, for the longest time, I've been a fan of the roller balls. Do I have one? Yeah, this one. I've been a big fan of these pens. The Pilot G2 in the 7.07 millimeter, whatever that is. And so when the local Office Depot was closing, they were sold out of these. I mean, I have these in red and black, but I really like the way these gel roller balls write. I just love the feel of them. And so I decided to try these tools, and they were like, oh, okay, so you can refill them. And I was like, okay, great. So I was using the first one that I had. They came in a pack of 3, and they were pretty cheap because it was a closeout. But they're actually, oh, these are full. The other one I have, I thought was only, maybe I've been writing a lot with it. But anyway, so I ran out from one of them. Must be this one. If you're hearing that beeping, I've got messages coming in on my cell phone. Yeah, you see this one's all empty. So I guess they were full. I guess I wrote a lot. Anyway, so they sell these refills, right? These refills, Tool refills, and I think they write really well. The only problem with this pen, this ink is that the ink is more water based. So like on my notebook, if I get a little bit of wetness on it, on the ink, it kind of smears. So that's a little bit disappointing. But I do like the roller ball. So it just slides in. Oh. Good thing I didn't throw away the spring. You have to keep the spring. And there's a little bit of this, I'll show you now. Put the spring back on. Good thing I didn't throw the spring away. I would have been totally hosed. The cap on it is really small, so it's a little bit of a pain, but there we go. You see that? I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of this plastic cap here. You just pull that off to write. But I'll save that for later. Excellent, excellent. So that's the first package. Now I've got fresh pens. Excellent. This one will toss. I better keep smoking before it goes out. Even after that low, draw is smooth, easy, good amount of smoke. Nice, nice. Just knocked off the tip. So now we've got this. I better continue on with that. And the next thing is also from Amazon. Can't remember what I bought here either. You know, my Amazon cart is always kind of filled with stuff, and like some I'll just save for later, some I'll delete out of it, and then some I'll just pull the trigger and order it. But they're never expensive because, you know, COVID means I don't have much money. Oh, all right. A new light. So you've been seeing me use this light here recently, right? This is a Ulanzi VL49, and it's a, for camera lights, this is quite nice. It's you see me use it. It's got good power. It's got a couple power settings, just like three settings, and then it's got a, I don't know what that does. What does that do? Oh, it gets even more intense. I had no idea. Anyway, but this one is just one color temperature, which is daylight, 5600 Kelvin, and it is just one color. This new one is $29, $30. This is the VL49 RGB. So it's the same size. It comes with a USB-C cable, A to C cable. Comes with a little silica gel. Don't eat it. And it comes packaged in here. And these are really small. They're not like some of the lights I'm using in here around me, but they're little tiny lights that are good for fill. But what I've wanted was one, and this is an RGB. So this one you can see here. I don't know what that NS charge means, but basically they're rechargeable. They come with like 3 cold shoes on all sides, and then of course a cold shoe mount with 1/4-20 threads. They usually are pre-charged when they come in. Oh, good. Okay, so this one, it comes with intensity meter, as well as, see, that 251 means it's an RGB number, and so you can change the color. And oh, look at that. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, so if you hold the one button down, it just recycles through all of the colors. Oh, that's pretty good. And then you could do intensity. So that's 100%. And it goes down in pretty much single-digit increments. So there's 13%, 7, 3, 2. So if I turn this light off, right, and I pump up the intensity, oops, this is kind of a purpley hue, so I can give myself a purple, there we go, purpley. Very Prince-like, very Prince. So I just wanted to get one of these RGB type lights because I thought they were pretty cool and I could use them in different scenarios. More for like accents and key lights. Not necessarily key, but more accent lights. For the different videos that I've been making on YouTube. I'm always kind of looking for the deal. Like there's another company that a lot of the YouTubers are really into called Aperture. And Aperture makes small kind of lights like this as well, and they're really well renowned. People really like them a lot. Problem is they're a couple $100 each. So they're a little bit from the pricier side, and we're trying to make stuff without necessarily spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That's still smoking nicely. It's not lively. Like it's not. Once we change from the early part of the first third where it was really kind of interesting and exciting, it's kind of come into this creaminess. Then at the start of the second third, we had that bump of like pepper. Now it's back to that creaminess. So it's not quite what I remember from the Alma Fuerte Black Label that I had years ago. That one was just like power and like excitement and just, throughout the entire smoke. This is a much more mellow, creamy kind of experience. Like I would, for the price, $21, I would prefer something punchier, something a little bit more lively. It's good. Now we're getting a little more cracking on the top of the wrapper here. As you can see, that crack has spread. Maybe that's more because it has been sitting in a bag. It's been sitting in this bag with a 69% Boveda, and the Boveda is still very wet. So it's been holding it inside the bag. It's just that maybe it's a little bit too hydrated. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. So did you know that they released the new Spider-Man? Well, not released the new Spider-Man, but they're going to release the new Spider-Man. They came out with the new trailer, or the new, not the new trailer, but they announced the title for Spider-Man. I thought you might be interested to see that. So let me pull that up here. Oh, how do I do that? Share video. Yeah, I'll share that. Let's see it. We'll give it a little watch on it. Thought you guys might be interested.
All right, so?
Gave us a fake name again. Not sure.
I just don't understand why he keeps doing this.
You don't understand?
Really?
I feel like it's pretty obvious
Yeah.
you spoil things. I don't
Good
spoil
thing.
things.
Good thing.
Name me one thing that I've actually spoiled.
The last movie title.
And there it is. That was it. Real short, real simple. I thought it was kind of cool. Nice to see my Filipino brother is at least one of us is losing weight. But here's something I don't know why. I don't understand. Like, all right, we've got a big American film industry. Why is it that we need to have British actors play Americans? Why is Peter Parker British? But that just kind of goes back to my whole, because I'm in the production union, the IATSE, there's also part of us that were always kind of complaining that what we used to call runaway production. So they used to bring, in the 90s when I first got in the industry, they used to take a lot of the production to Canada, to Vancouver, and we would call that runaway production. And that was always kind of an irritant because, especially for the guys in LA, they would lose out to movies being shot in Canada, where the wages are cheaper. And the thing for us is that our union, which is called the IATSE, which stands for International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees and Motion Machine Picture Operators of the U.S. and Canada. So it's an international international union that spans North America, United States and Canada. So when productions would go to Canada, our locals would complain, but the IA, the international organization, couldn't really, or wouldn't really do anything because, well, it's the work's still going to the union, just in a different part of the world. Okay, so this crack that I'm having here, right, is starting to interfere with the suction on the cigar. So if I put my lips here, like if it's on the bottom of my lip here, I'm getting bleed. So I'm not getting the full suction. So I'm getting some air being directed around the cigar. And when that happens, it tends to pull extra air. So I tend to maybe inhale a little bit, which always gives me a kind of a gag reaction. So I kind of have to more kiss the end or squeeze really hard around the cap in order to create a better seal. And I was saying that they are cheaper. Well, the actors aren't necessarily cheaper. The unions are definitely cheaper. The production crews, when they go to other countries, can be cheaper, but the actors are not. It's like if you watch British productions, it seems more rare for them to bring in American actors to play roles. I mean, of course, they're a much smaller industry than ours, but well, at least Iron Man is American. But you know, Vision is from the UK. Thor is from Australia. Actually, it should be Thor. My mailman is actually named Thor, right? So, I got a new mailman down in Hamden. We were talking the other week, and he's like, "I'm Thor." I was like, "What?" Thor. Well, it's Thor, but Thor. It's, the pronunciation from Norway is Thor. And I was like, "Okay, so I'm gonna learn to pronounce it." So I've been practicing Thor, Thor, Thor. So that crack here at the cap, you know, has kind of made it a little bit of a battle to smoke. And I'm wondering, like, it's starting to get a little bit warm right here where my fingers are. So maybe I'm going a little bit too fast. I'm going to put it down for a few moments. Maybe have a little beverage. I don't know, at the rate we're going right now, Inting, we might not make the 2 hours. Like I said, I tend to go a bit fast on my smoking. I don't know if you heard, but Bruce Springsteen, he got a DWI. He was down at the Sandy Hook Park, or recreation area in New Jersey, and evidently he ran into some fans who wanted to take a photo with him, and so he ended up taking 2 shots of tequila with these fans and a selfie picture, and then jumped on his motorcycle and drove away. Well, it happens to be that a cop saw him take the 2 shots, sees him ride away on his motorcycle, pulls him over and gives him DWI. But they did squash that, I guess, because he's got a pretty clean record, and he was getting like, what, 0.08 instead of the 0.2 that makes it like, so he wasn't truly inebriated. And I don't know if you saw the pictures from NASA released some of the video and pictures from the Perseverance lander on Mars, where this thing kind of was coming down in the parachute, and then there's some kind of crane assembly that after it hit a certain altitude above the ground, the rockets on this crane fired and held the crane in place, and then it lowered with wires the Perseverance lander rover down to the ground. And then this thing disconnected and flew away, like 2-3 kilometers away, and then crash landed. I think it crash landed, because they showed a video where you could kind of see this plume rising. That was kind of cool. Oh, and then you guys probably saw that United Airlines flight, the 772, whose engine cowling blew up on takeoff out of Denver. Didn't Diane go down to, wasn't she going to Hawaii? Because that was a flight to Honolulu out of Denver. Engine blows up. And then, well, they didn't really crash. If you listen, so there's this, what YouTube channel called Vasa Aviation, VASA, Vasa Aviation, and they have they have most of the ATC transcripts. You can listen to the pilot. And then there was this other guy, Mentor pilot, this German dude. I think he flies for Lufthansa, and he was breaking it down, and he was like, "Oh, you know this." They were doing all these checklists, and so pretty much once they ran through the checklist and put out the fire on the right engine, the number 2 engine, pretty much that was it. And like after that, it was just normal flight routine because the 777 is designed to fly on one engine. And evidently, the engine on that plane that blew up, the Pratt and Whitney, also blew up on another plane, which I believe was another Pratt and Whitney blew up, I think, on the same day. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. So Tony's here. Evening, gent. Just finished dinner now. Smoking steak, Parmesan, garlic, shaved Brussels sprouts, and baked potato. Nice. The Davidoff Master Selection 2010. Ah, excellent, excellent. I was wondering about that because I saw her posting from Denver. And I was like, oh, I thought she was going to be on a flight. Oh, that sucks. But she was telling me, so so Diana is actually Di's sister-in-law, and so she was posting the other day, and she was like, I'm going to Hawaii. And I said, oh, you're going to be flying United, it's going to be jam-packed. And then she like emailed me back. She was like, hey, this is the seating. And like, so the 777-200 is about 230 seats. And I think on that, she sent me the information on the flight, and I think it was 150 occupied, already booked, already seats selected. And then there was another 9 flying on standby. And so I was like, oh, you'll definitely make it on that flight. That shouldn't be a problem. Oh, but you didn't get the COVID test? That's too bad. Yeah, evidently you have to do COVID tests for some of these flights. Tony, you smoking at home? Yeah, this crack on the cap really is interfering with the enjoyability of a cigar now. And speaking of flights, evidently the TSA wants to hire 6,000 more employees. Evidently because of the vaccines that are happening now, they're anticipating heavy flight loads or heavier flight loads in the summer, which I think for the airlines we're very happy with. But I'm guessing a lot of that will be for domestic travel because most countries really, I'm not sure if they're really allowing us to go there. And Tony's at home. Good, good. Yeah, the cigar is not terribly exciting. Yeah, this is really, this crack is just really interfering with and now the wrapper's starting to lift and to come off. That's a little bit of a disappointment. Eric's here. Hey, what's going on, Eric? How are you doing? Eric and I have been trying to find a time to get together for a smoke. He just flew back in from his trip yesterday, and he's like, can you do it today? I was like, I can't do it tonight because we got to do this. But good to have you here, Eric. Yeah, like I said, with this crack, so I'm getting a lot more air in the mouth, which brings a lot more. So, when you're smoking a cigar, there's so much resistance in the cigar, right? So you're pulling to overcome that resistance to get the right amount. But when there's a crack that allows extra airflow, it does, at least in my case, I tend to start to inhale it, which makes it much more difficult to enjoy the cigar. Oh, that's right. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. That's right. Were you under a COVID scare? Is that why you're home? I have to say it's been tough because we've all been, our whole group of friends has been kind of separated this last 2 months because of the COVID. So I haven't really kept up with everyone, seen everyone yet. Because 24th was Tony's birthday. 52. Ah, yes, yes, good, good. And Rusty and Eric both give you the greetings for the birthday. And Tony decided to opt and cook his own 2.5-inch steak dinner. Oh, nice. You know, as much as I enjoy going to some steakhouses, there is something really enjoyable about making the steak yourself. I think, you know. You get to do it just the way you want. And for me personally, that usually means I get to have it with rice, which makes the world of difference. Like, I'm not against potatoes, but so in my world, the potato is not as satisfying as the rice. Or if I stay away from if I put the crack away from my mouth, it smokes better. So I know I asked you guys, have you been following WandaVision? That's something I've been following recently. That's it's still kind of strange as a show. I don't know if you've been following it, like, you know, it's Wanda, the red scarlet, whatever witch, whatever, the Red Witch, and Vision, that Jarvis derived thing from Ultron. They're living together, and it's an interesting show, but strange but interesting. Ooh, 2.5-inch prime New York strip coffee and crust. Oh, very nice, very nice. Eric says, had a smoke at La Palma in Denver yesterday. Interesting shop, not much section. They were all nice. You know, I was just, some of my friends who, the friends that I went to Deep Creek with a couple weeks ago, suddenly last weekend they're like, we want to go to Denver. Evidently one of our buddies, one of our friends, has to go to a wedding in Denver in April, end of April. And he's like, I'm going to go to April. I'm going to go to Denver. And suddenly everyone was like, we all want to go to Denver. And how is Denver? Like, is there anything to do there? Like, I've been to Denver several times. But, like, I tend not to think of it as a city that I would go to. Like, the last time I was in Denver, I also went to a wedding that was in Boulder. One of my old college friends, she got remarried, and she's like, come on out. I was like, all right, I'm going to come out. So I came out for the wedding, but, like, when I think of Denver itself, I don't really think of it as, like, a rockin' city to go to. How did you find it there, Eric? So the cigar's going along well. It's still got that kind of creaminess, that kind of lully. Like, I want it to be really, like, exciting and, like, really kind of like, yes. But, you know. So Eric said, lots of homeless people and tons of weed. Well, so it's not too much different than Baltimore. And tons of weed. Yeah, there's a lot of weed shops there. You know, when I was there for that wedding, I don't know what I was thinking, but I rented this hotel. I reserved this hotel in Denver. And I knew the wedding was in Boulder, but I didn't really know exactly where. Oh, no, it was because my cousin works for Hilton. And so because he works for Hilton, they have this family plan where we get, like, really cheap hotels with Hilton. But depending on the season, depending on availability, it's not like you get to any Hilton, right? So the Hilton that I ended up in was in Denver. So it's like a good half an hour to 40-minute drive to Boulder. So I had to drive back and forth. But the few days that I was there, I ended up, city was like Feather Hill, okay, good, with good tacos. And Di says microbrews and distilleries, cool. I'm not a big, like, I'm not a beer guy, so that's a problem. But anyway, so I'm there, and I went to a couple different cigar shops, you know, just to pass the time during the day. I was there for several days. And I also went to one of the pot shops. And you know, you go to a pot shop, I don't know if you've been to a pot shop, but these pot shops that are, they tend to be, you know, there it's not like here where you have to have a medical license to get marijuana. You just go and buy open. It's kind of like Portland. You just go in and you buy, and they've got all kinds of edibles and all kinds of stuff, and you can buy it bulk or loose or whatever they call it, and then you can also buy pre-rolled joints, like 1 or 2 gram joints, and they come pre-packaged. And so I bought like 2 because I figured, oh, let me do a couple. So I spent like $20. They're like $10 each, or maybe they're $20, whatever it was. I didn't spend more than like $30 or $40. And you know, I'm not a big pot guy, so I just wanted to try it. And so when I would get to my hotel at night, I would have a couple puffs, and that was it. And it doesn't really affect me too heavily, so I don't really know why I'm doing it. I'm just doing it because I'm there. And so I calculated. So in the 4 days that I was there in Denver, I probably went to like 4 cigar shops or 3 cigar shops. Had a cigar or 2 at each one. I think I spent $60 or $80 on cigars, and I spent $20 on pot. So just like Gene Hackman said in the movie Crimson Tide, cigars are more expensive than drugs. So Tony says, you want it to be like the Alma Fuerte we had or the Alma del Fuego? Yes, I do. That Alma Fuente was just, the black label was just punchy and powerful and like flavorful and through the entire thing. This is just, like, it was flavorful at the very beginning, and then it just kind of became mellow, creamy. I have not had the Alma del Fuego yet. So according to Brooks, whose report came out today on Half Wheel, he gave it a 90. Said that it was rich, well-balanced, complex, pricey, but one of the best cigars that he smoked so far this year. I don't know if I would concur with that. I'd say it's a good cigar, creamy, medium bodied, medium strength, but it doesn't really hold my interest. So maybe if I was to score it, again, we'll go back to the whole scoring thing where there is no real basis for it, so I'm just kind of shooting off the cuff, but I would think maybe more 86, 85, 86, rather than 90. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of cigar smokers that would find this to be very strong and very complex. And actually, right now, it's starting to come alive. A little more spiciness, peppery. But I'm not finding it to be like, I'm not finding it to be that terribly exciting or that punchy. Like, when I think punchy, like that 2018... that 2018 Witchcraft, the Soberana from Romacraft, that is punchy. To the point where, like, you're just getting pummeled in the face. That was the kind of thing where it was just kind of like I'm trying to duck below the smoke because I'm just getting beaten up over it. So Inting's asking, better than the Charter Oak Habano? No, I think the Charter Oak Habano, there's similarities between the two. That kind of like lull, that kind of not terribly exciting. That's kind of the parallel between the two. I would say the Charter Oak's better because it's only $7. Eric says he's smoking a Romacraft. Which Roma are you smoking there tonight? And then Tony says the Alma del Fuego Lancero size was delicious. I think it's more oomph. Oh, really? Okay. I would hope so, because Alma del Fuego, Alma, the hope, Alma's hope, the fire of the fire would be, should be more oomphy. Like the Forte that I had at Alex's shop in Virginia was definitely hitting. Was definitely firing. So maybe the thing is that besides the Charter Oak, would it? I guess in my case, my personal case, would it be a competition to the Revenge? No. I mean, at its priciest, the Revenge is like half the price of this at $10, $11. You can normally find these for $7 to $9. This is much more my speed. Much more my speed. Eric's smoking a Cro-Magnon. Excellent, excellent. The interesting thing is I love these, right? On the Romacraft line, I love these. And the 2013 Campagna de Soberana, love those. Last week we opened the package from Roma, and there was a bunch of cigars in there. Some Aquitaine box press, one Cro-Magnon, and a couple of Intemperances. So I smoked through everything except for the Cro-Magnon, which is right here. I smoked the Cro-Magnon. So all that's left of this Intemperance Bellicoso. And the Aquitaines are good. It's just not my wheelhouse of flavors. Cro-Magnons, a little bit more. Where these BA a la Paracas, oof, man. Can't get enough of those. I can't keep them either. You get some and then you just kind of suck them down because they're just so enjoyable. My dilemma lately has been so I spend a lot of time here having a cigar while catching up on television shows. And I don't want to. I'm not the kind of person that wants to smoke the same cigar in succession, right? I've done it a couple times because I was out, but I'm always trying to find a blend of cigars. So I'm always trying to find one cigar to start out with, and then if I have the Revenge, I'll usually end with the Revenge because it's so much more powerful than most of the cigars. So it's kind of you're building up in flavors rather than starting something strong and then going to something a little bit milder. So my greatest problem at the moment is trying to find that first cigar before going to the Romacraft. And speaking of shows, I did finally catch up on the Blacklist. I don't know if you guys watch the Blacklist, but they're in season 8 now, and it's getting kind of interesting. If you follow the show, it follows this guy, Red Reddington, who's the main character, this kind of criminal mastermind. And his ward, so to speak, has been this FBI agent, Elizabeth Keene. He's finally turned her to the dark side, and now she's battling against him. It's kind of interesting. What else have I been following? SEAL Team's back. Watch that. I'm up to date with that. Well, today I didn't watch yesterday's show. SWAT just caught up with last week's show. Magnum Pi, all caught up with that. I do like the new Magnum Pi. I'm a big fan of the original series with Tom Selleck. And so when they made the changes and brought in Jay Hernandez to be Magnum, and Jay's not really Thomas, right? He's not Tom Selleck. And then they brought the girl, what's her name? Perdita Weeks to be the Higgins character. I enjoy the new Magnum in a completely different way than the old one. I think it's a good show on its own right without necessarily having to bother yourself with the original series. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys watch that show? I don't know if you. What are you guys watching anyway? In other news this week, Tiger Woods got into another car accident. Evidently, he was speeding somewhere in California and crashed his like Infinity or whatever he was driving. No, I mean I guess it's pretty serious. I think he got like some pins in his like legs, so that's pretty bad. But kind of made me think that guy gets into a lot of car accidents. Oof. There it is, that smoke again. And evidently, Kelsey Grammer's coming back to do a Frasier reboot. So if you're a fan of Frasier, he's coming back. I don't know if that's good. Oh. I don't know. I never really followed Frasier, so I don't really know. I don't mind Jay Hernandez. You know, I mean, he's a different kind of Thomas Magnum. Although the thing that I don't really understand about it is that in Jay's character as Magnum, he gets into these situations where he seems a little bit overwhelmed by the criminality. Like, his backstory is that he was a Navy SEAL, and Navy SEALs are pretty badasses, you know, so I would think that he would be able to, like, handle pretty much any kind of situation, but he doesn't really come off as, like, a Navy SEAL guy. Not that I know a lot of Navy SEALs. And then evidently, I guess Tiger is looking at a 2-year recovery. Wow, that's crazy. 2 years, but you know what? He's good enough in golf that he'll probably come back and win again. I mean, he didn't lose his leg, so he just needs to rebuild. Is there a Blossom reboot? I didn't know about that. I'm going to have to look that up. That's Soleil Moon Frye, right? How's she looking now? So it's definitely some strength, and I think the strength is from the cigar is really more because I'm inhaling it. So like I've said in the past, when I get to this point of the cigar, I tend to get a lot of like inhaling for some reason. Like, I guess because the burn, the cherry is so much closer to the nose. So I tend to become more ginger at this length. Like when I was younger, man, we're just smoking and just sucking them down, no big deal. Now it gets a little more complex at this point. Complex because I would want to maintain composure. So also in the news, Guy Fieri's Flavor Town is coming up again to Aberdeen. They said this weekend they're doing what they call the ghost kitchen. So you jump on like Uber Eats or one of those apps and you order from Flavor Town. You order this stuff, and evidently a lot of people had some problems where they would order the food and it would just never show up. Like it would just never. They would never make. They would charge them for it, but they would never make them the food, and it would never come. So then they would get refunds. So I know a couple people that's happened to when it was, I guess, in D.C. So that's a bit disappointing. And speaking of food, there's a new Shake Shack that just opened here in Towson, at the Towson Circle. I don't know if you guys are Shake Shack fans. I've had Shake Shack in a few places. I've had it here in Baltimore, downtown. I've had it, actually, my friends brought me to the Shake Shack almost 2 years ago when I was in Manila. They just opened one there. So everyone was super excited to go. And they're like, you want to go? And they're like, well, we were going to go to dinner at this one place. And then for some reason, we weren't going to go there. And they're like, let's just go to the new Shake Shack. And I was like, that's not too exciting. I mean, Shake Shack's all right. I mean, they do grilled burgers on a griddle, and they do the crinkle cut fries. It's really a kind of a. It's really basically it's a copy. Their burgers are a copy of Ted Drew's in St. Louis, and evidently the founder of Shake Shack, and his name now escapes me. Rusty, you probably remember his name better than I do, but evidently he was from the St. Louis area originally, and that's where he grew up with. So he wanted to recreate that whole Ted Drew's experience, and it's probably I've never been to Ted Drew's. I've always wanted to go, but it's probably just as good. It's just that I think for what you get from Shake Shack, it's a bit on the pricey side. Like you could easily spend $15 or more on burger, fries, and a shake. And I think it should be a little bit more better for that kind of price point. More along the lines of like what Burger Brothers was offering before. Like I haven't been back to Burger Brothers in Towson since the last time I was there when they made the change of the patties, and that really was kind of disappointing. So we're still rolling. It's not bad. Oh, Inting, you're right. Looks like we're pushing on 2 hours now. I'm not to the point where I'm going to put it down. Although the intensity of the smoke the smoke is getting more intense. Ooh. I think I always enjoy cigars when they're longer. Oh, one thing I wanted to know, I've got this fan here. You can see the fan in the corner here, and I use that to blow the air around. And can you hear it? You know, it's a box fan, so it's a little bit on the louder side. But I always wondered if you could hear it in the broadcast. Yeah, it's certainly turning out to be that. So I mean, for $21, you're getting a good 2-hour smoke. So that's a good thing. The coffee's still on the softer side. Like I would like it to be a little bit more robust. I think I want everything to be more robust. So there we are. Coming along. So the wrapper is cracking a lot. So it makes it a lot more difficult to smoke. Maybe tear some of that off. Not bad. So if those of you just tuning in, I remember that I mentioned this earlier tonight, and I mentioned this last week during the show, was I did speak to Michael King, who's the regional broker for Aganorsa Leaf Cigars, and he's agreed to come on the show next month. I got to set a date for it. But what we're going to do for that is we're going to have a particular cigar plus 2 of the tasting tobacco rolls. So what they do is they roll this tobacco, 2 different major leaves that Aganorsa built their empire on, and that they use to incorporate it. They use one or both in pretty much every blend they make. So it's really a part of the foundation of their cigars. And he's agreed to come on the show, and we're going to do a smoking tasting. And so I'm going to be down at Tobacco Leaf tomorrow afternoon around 3:30. I'm going to hang out with Rahul and have a smoke. So if you're around, have a smoke with us. Come down to Tobacco Leaf. But I'm going to talk to Rahul about putting that together so that we can have a little pack, a three-pack set where we have a cigar and then the 2 tasting sticks. And then we'll have Michael come on the show, and we're going to smoke the cigar or smoke the leaves and then smoke the cigar, or whatever order he thinks is best. And hopefully we can have everybody join in and have a really interesting experience with delving into tobacco and the blending and then the final result. All right, I think that's going to be enough, as I can't really suck on this anymore. All right, so that's it. That was the Alma Fuerte Sixto Uno. Not a bad smoke. It's $21. It's not the powerhouse craziness that Half Wheel says it is, at least not to my palate. It's a nice cigar. Creamy through most of the smoke. That's the basic, and then as Rusty always wants to know, would I buy it again? Probably not. I mean, it's at a price point that gives you pause, $21 per stick. It's an attractive looking cigar with the hexagonal box press. But it just doesn't have the punchiness and doesn't have the flavor complexity, and it doesn't have a journey. It doesn't have a really entertaining journey through the whole cigar. So it's like, I think I would choose something else. Like in this price range, would it stand up? How does it stand up against something like the Drew Estate T52 Bellicoso stock cut? I think I prefer the T52 over this, especially the T52 you get around here, $15 to $18. Save a little money, get a little bit more adventure. Yeah, so that's that. So in the next couple weeks, we're going to have some more cigars. So let me look it up here. So next week on March 4th, we're going to be trying the Dunbarton Trust Muestra de Saca Exclusivo. It's a little coffin cigar. So we're going to smoke that on the 4th. On March 11th, we're going to do the Illusione PCA 2020 Exclusiva. And then maybe we'll do the Aganorsa on the 18th. Well, I got to talk to Mike about that, and then we'll figure that out. So that's pretty much it for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in again. I really appreciate you spending the Thursday and evening with me. We'll be back again next Thursday. So look forward to that. Look forward to seeing you again. Have a great evening.